Now's your chance to run.
Zero! Zero is an aggressive rushdown fighter who excels at opening up opponents with his incredible speed and frame data, all before cutting them down with his incredible damage potential and versatile set of hit confirms. As a prime cut pressure-oriented character, Zero's strengths lie in his ability to deal big damage through long combo strings, all while sporting some excellent mobility and a sword that has some fairly decent range to it. This combination allows Zero to be one of the game's scariest fighters once he opens his opponent up, and this is very fitting given Zero's history as a fighting game character. However, Zero's offensive power is in turn offset by a very fragile frame, meaning that he can potentially be killed just as fast as he can kill his opponents, which is why it's all the more important that you keep the momentum of the match in your favor when playing as Zero. As a Zero player, it's your job to use your fantastic mobility and collection of deadly mix-up tools to tear down your opponent's defenses and force them into dangerous mix-up scenarios, where making only a couple of mistakes can lead to a potential lost stock. It's also important that you don't overexert yourself, as that handful of mistakes aspect isn't exclusive to Zero's opponents. Zero stands as a medium-sized humanoid character, his height being fairly close to that of Roy, a character I'd argue has taken quite a number of inspirations from Zero since his introduction in Melee. As serial number DWN Infinity, Zero is the ultimate creation of the late Dr. Wily and the original carrier of the Maverick virus, the inciting sickness that would lead to the event of the Mega Man X series after infecting the former leader of the Reploids, Sigma. While originally designed to bring the world to ruin, little did Wily know that Zero would not only become one of the Reploid's strongest allies, but the closest friend of the robot he was created to hate. While he would remain a background character for the most part during the series' first 3 titles, X4 would feature a fully playable Zero for the first time in the series, and through the use of his Z-Saber and his ability to learn techniques as opposed to Maverick abilities, he would quickly become a fan-favorite character of both speedrunners and casual players alike, thanks especially to the fact that Zero is far less balanced than that of X. This aspect wouldn't say exclusive to his appearances in the Mega Man X series either, as Zero has also become a rather infamous figure within certain circles of the FGC for being one of the strongest fighting game characters ever conceived. While he might have never reached the insane heights of characters like Virgil in UMVC 3 or Meta Knight in Brawl, his ability to consistently place within the top 3 or 4 spots of every roster he's been a part of has given him one of the best track records out of any Capcom fighting game character. Also, as a former competitive UMVC3 player, you can imagine that I have quite the history with this guy, and let me tell you, there's 3 quotes in UMVC3 that can make even the most hardened veteran shiver in fear. And those quotes are, "I need more power, you have angered Doom, and so Genmu." I've been on the receiving end of Zero's loops more than enough times in the past decade to have a bit of disdain for the character, but since character design is a selfless act and personal biases should be set aside during times like this, I plan to use my experience as a stepping stool and create something that truly lives up to Zero's reputation. That sure beats the hell out of whining about people who don't play the game the same way you do on either Discord or Twitter, doesn't it? In terms of mobility options, Zero has 2 jumps, along with the ability to repeatedly wall jump much like he can in the Mega Man X series. One of the main aspects that separates X and Zero in terms of gameplay is their main weapon of choice, as instead of choosing to use his Buster to deal range damage, Zero instead utilizes his terrifying Z-Saber to cut down all foes with incredible speed and precision. However, in Mega Man X6, this aspect of their character design is shifted around a bit, as both X and Zero are capable of using both their Buster and Beam Saber in order to deal damage, with the latter option for the two simply acting as an extra attack that they can't use nearly as well as the other party. As a result, Zero's Buster is pretty much a sidearm with little purpose, but the way he was made to utilize it in the Versus series gave it a serious purpose in his design. So much so, in fact, that it's actually Zero's character mechanic here in Smash. My fellow Marvel players know this terrifying tool all too well, and it's going to rain just as much hell down on the world of Smash as it did for many a crossover universe. The Zero Buster. Introduced back into Zero's kit in Mega Man X5, this versatile projectile option will start by having the player hold down either the A or B button, which can be done not only while standing still, but also while moving around and performing attacks. As the button is held, Zero's right arm will begin to flash a sequence of colors, with it starting as a blue flash, then changing to a green flash, and finally ending with a constantly flashing yellow, with these visual indicators showing the level of charge accumulated. This charge can be held as long as an attack button is held down, meaning it's more than possible for players to roll their thumbs between A and B in order to keep the charge while performing specific attacks. And once the button is released, Zero will release an energy blast that will travel across the stage at a surprisingly fast pace. This blast will deal both more damage and move faster the longer the move is charged for. And if used in the air, Zero will launch his buster shots at a downward angle, separating them from the charge shot design I came up with for X. This unique design will make it quite difficult to punish Zero's game plan once he has a full buster charged, as what might start as a small hit can turn to either potential burst damage or even a kill confirm. While he's definitely not a zoner, this move can keep fighters on their toes from almost any range, but you'd better believe those with reflectors will do whatever it takes to make sure you put that buster shot back where it came from. But it will be difficult to reflect it if you use it to cancel your end lag. You heard correctly, Zero is capable of using his buster shots to cancel the end lag of his attacks, be it his normals or specials, with the level of hit stun and area for follow-ups being greater the higher level of charge the player has stored. And this is going to be something your opponent will always need to be prepared for. If the Zero player whiffs a button, you'd better expect a 5-frame buster shot being launched at your face. And while reflectors can beat out that frame window, you're going to need to be quick, or you'll find yourself stuck in shield and leave the Zero player open to approach and grab you, with this either being used to set up a combo or throw you into a 50-50 mix-up. It's very strong, it's very dangerous, and given Zero's pedigree as a fighting game character, I wouldn't have it any other way. This is what makes up the basis of Zero's character design. Use your incredible mobility and disjointed weapon strikes to pressure your opponent and open them up with a variety of mix-up options, all while utilizing your buster canceling mechanic to catch openings and end combos with aplomb. It's not nearly as detail-oriented as X's design, but I feel the more straightforward character design works for Zero far better than it does for X. And now that you understand the basics of Zero's design, let's now move on to his normals and discuss the attacks you'll be using to crack your opponent's shield open like an egg. Zero's normals will mainly be comprised of attacks he can perform with his Z-Saber throughout the Mega Man X series, with his saber taking its appearance from Mega Man X4 and X5. While a lot of Zero's more recent appearances in crossover media features him with his blade from X6, I feel the fluid design of the X4 saber would not only look far better in motion, but just work better with the nature of Zero's moveset. That, and it's what I've become accustomed to as a former competitive Marvel 3 player, so I'm going with the Zero design I know and love. Also, just for clarification, this is a moveset for Mega Man X's Zero, and as a result, there will be no attacks pulled from the latter title in this moveset. And honestly, Zero has so many attacks it doesn't really need to pull from outside sources anyways. Zero's neutral combo is his Z-Saber's basic attack string from Mega Man X4 and X5. This 3-hit string starting with a vertical slash, then a horizontal slash, and then ending the combo with a rapid hitting vertical slash that will cover a wide range. Thanks to the fantastic range and disjoint on the final hit of his combo, the player can use this dangerous string to check buttons and even follow up the combo with either specials or his buster. And as a result, this is one of Zero's strongest neutral tools and one of his safest buttons overall. It's not hard to understand why this button string was Zero's light, medium, heavy combo in both Tatsunoko vs. Capcom and Marvel vs. Capcom. And to add a bit of fear into the hearts of Smash players, the final hit of this combo hits 3 times. That's 3 chances for the player to cancel the move, and the options you can cancel into make holding shield a potential gamble. A large, disjointed physical attack that can hit 3 times and can cancel any of said 3 hits? Just be thankful this is stuck on Zero's jab combo. Or is it? Unique to Smash and calling back to his crossover roots, Zero's X4 sword combo will be split into 2 different combos, with the aforementioned string being the attack you get if you tap the A button. But if you hold the A button, Zero will instead perform this long-reaching multi-hit slash as a standalone attack, with it sharing the same stats as if it were part of the combo, minus the damage scaling of course. Try using this to catch port placement in the neutral and to stuff buttons with its multi-hit properties, as being hit by this move one too many times will make your opponent fear your approach. Zero's forward tilt is the Z-Saber's basic attack string from Mega Man X6. This unique combo taking a step away from the attack style of his previous appearances as Zero will attack with a pair of horizontal slashes, all before performing a rising slash to launch foes upwards. Where Zero's neutral combo is designed more to set up damage from his buster and be a generally strong set of buttons to contend with in the neutral, his side tilt by comparison is a dangerous combo starter and a set of moves you don't want to be on the receiving end of thanks to their unique cancel properties. Once the opponent is launched upwards by the slash, the player can perform a jump cancel in order to pursue a foe up into the air and set up even more damage, or potentially cash out on their accumulated damage with a kill confirm if they act quickly enough. But to make up for the combo's unique attributes, its startup is notably slower than Zero's X4 combo. Also, if you want to mix your opponent up, try canceling the first or second hit into something like dash grab or roll, but expect to get punished if you're doing this against an opponent that's blocking. Zero's up tilt is Saber Uppercut, a simple grounded launcher that will have Zero slashed upwards using one arm, mimicking the design of his launcher from the Versus series. Thanks to its great horizontal range, Zero can use this to get combos going while also punishing poor placement in the neutral. But said horizontal range is counterbalanced by having only okay vertical range, making it a fairly poor anti-air. It still counts as a massive disjoint, but its inability to pressure platforms means the Zero player will need to jump in order to challenge jump ins a majority of the time. Zero's down tilt is low slash, his crouching slash attack from X4 and X5 that will have him sweep his Z-Saber along the ground, dealing quick yet weak damage in order to knock foes hit off the ground and up into the air. With its fantastic startup and cancel speed, this can be a very strong poke option and even better combo star if it manages to land. But it should be known that this move has two different hitboxes, which will launch the opponent in two different directions. 80% of the blade will launch the opponent upwards on hit, but if the opponent is hit by the tip of the sword, they'll actually be launched horizontally, making it much harder for Zero to follow up outside of properly timed buster cancels. Regardless, it's a move that, while simple at face value, is fairly dangerous thanks to what it can lead into, so try to not underestimate it. Zero's dash attack is Shippuga, a technique acquired in X4 from Slash Beast that will have Zero rush forward at a quick pace, the blade of his saber being dyed a bright red as he rapidly cuts into any opponent in his path. This dash attack will cover a solid range and feature a lingering hitbox that can catch a variety of mistakes in the neutral, with it even being able to confirm kills at higher percents thanks to its decent launch power and ability to drag hit opponents across the screen. However, this move's poor shield damage will make it very easy to punish if your opponent can see it coming, so try to use it when your opponent either least expects it or can't react to it, as this move's startup is fairly fast. For his get-up attacks, Zero will attack around himself with either a slash from a saber or a spinning kick, all while performing a sweeping slash for his ledge attack. For his smash attacks, Zero utilized three of his more powerful techniques from the Mega Man X series, with these attacks being designed to add a bit more bite to Zero's kit. As compared to his relatively low damage normals, these attacks will hit hard and serve as some of Zero's main kill confirms. These attacks are all disjointed as well, so rest assured that they'll be quite difficult to trade with. Zero's forward smash is Jul Hazan, a technique acquired from Gravity Antonion in Mega Man X8 that will have him perform a huge overhead slash using his Z-Saber. This attack covering a wide horizontal and vertical range and dealing heavy damage to all opponents in its damage path. With its great launch power and fantastic range, this move serves as Zero's strongest kill confirm and a great way to challenge aggression both from above and in front of you, as this move is capable of hitting opponents on platforms. However, this move's recovery is fairly slow, which is a rarity amongst Zero's attacks, and thus is one of his few attacks that are heavily unsafe on whiff. Try using this move to catch opponents at the ledge or when you're trying to Oki, as this move's range is great enough to catch a majority of your opponent's get-up options with little to no risk to Zero. Zero's up smash is Shouenzan, a technique acquired from Blaze Heatniks in X6 that will have Zero perform a rising slash with his sword, all while the blade releases a high-hitting wave of fire that will deal rapid damage and launch all foes hit by it up into the air. This move's greatest strength is its range, with it sporting a pair of massive disjointed hitboxes that can cover a huge vertical area, and with some decent launch power, it can be used as a kill confirm against opponents trying to either camp above you or trying to land. However, its fantastic vertical range is offset by some fairly poor horizontal range, as the flames don't start until Zero is midway through the attack. As a result, it might be easy for opponents with disjoints and projectiles to punish Zero at ground level, so try to only use this if you have your opponent above you. Finally, Zero's down smash is Rakukoha, a technique acquired in X4 from Cyber Peacock that will have Zero punch the ground, this punch creating a wave of fireballs that will fly outwards in a fan-like pattern and damage all foes in its area of effect. These projectiles will only travel a short distance, but will cover Zero's entire hurtbox as they do so, protecting him from attacks as he covers all sides of himself simultaneously. Also, while this attack creates energy blasts, these blasts do not count as projectiles and cannot be reflected back at Zero. All of these stats come together to create an attack that's mainly designed as an Okizeme option, as good positioning can make this one of the hardest attacks for your opponent to deal with when they're either trying to get off the ledge or off the floor. But it should be noted that jabs or well-placed disjoints can beat this attack should your opponent predict your movements. To go in line with his fantastic grounded mobility, Zero also sports some great aerial mobility backed up by some fairly strong jump height, which is fitting, as in the Mega Man X series, he's the only character who can actually double jump. As for his aerials, Zero will continue to utilize various techniques he can acquire from defeating Mavericks in the Mega Man X series, with these moves being designed to rack up damage quickly and continue combos that his grounded normals started. Zero's neutral air is Kuenzan, a technique acquired in X4 from Split Mushroom that will have Zero perform a wide-hitting rolling slash, this attack hitting multiple times before launching opponents away with the final strike. This move will surround Zero's hurtbox in a wave of disjointed damage, making it difficult to challenge at regular attacks and a great way for catching mistakes in the neutral as Zero can hold this attack until he touches the ground. If the player uses this move to land, Zero will be able to cancel the active frames of this move into one of his grounded normals, making this a fantastic combo starter or combo bridge, especially when used in tandem with his buster. However, despite its great range, this move's fairly weak shield damage makes it easy to counter without shield options if you fall on top of your opponent, while any and all projectiles will pass through this move and knock Zero out of this attack. Zero's forward air is his regular jumping attack from Mega Man X4 and X5, this slash covering a decent range and hitting 3 times before knocking the opponent away. While this move's weak damage and knockback growth doesn't seem that dangerous at first glance, this move sports the same properties as the final hit of Zero's neutral combo, meaning that any of the move's 3 hits can be cancelled into a variety of abilities, including but not limited to his buster and his grounded normals should the player fast fall with this attack. As a result, this move is very difficult to predict effectively, and thanks to this, it's one of Zero's scariest buttons and his main combo bridge that can lead to big damage. While difficult to challenge straight on, this move will lose out to out of shield options thanks to its poor shield damage. On top of that, this is one of the few attacks Zero has that isn't disjointed, so it can be traded with and beaten by invincible reversals. Zero's up air is Raijin Geki, a unique take on the technique acquired in X4 that will have Zero perform a wide-hitting overhead slash. His blade tinted a bright blue as it releases an outward wave of electricity on hit and launches opponents after the final strike. This move's multi-hit properties can be cancelled on landing, much like Zero's neutral and forward airs, allowing the player to use this as a great engage tool that can drag opponents back down towards the stage. And unlike his other aerials, this move's shield damage is actually a threat thanks to its electrifying properties. Also, thanks to this move's great horizontal range, the player can catch opponents with this attack quite effectively, but it should be noted that poor spacing can potentially lead to disjoint punishes if the player isn't careful. Zero's back air is Hiroga, a wide-hitting reversal that will have Zero slash out behind himself, his blade tinted an icy blue and releasing a series of icicles as he attacks. A unique take on Blizzard Wolfang's technique from X6, this attack will cover a wide range and hit hard, this serving as Zero's aerial kill confirm and a dangerous move to contest with thanks to the sword's disjoint. However, while powerful, this is one of the few attacks that Zero has that sports poor landing lag, especially if you fast fall the move. While this can be alleviated by using it out of a full hop, opponents can exploit this move's landing weakness by parrying and going for either a tilt or grab once Zero touches the ground. Finally, Zero's down air is Sensuizan, a unique take on Smash's traditional fastfall aerial that will have Zero perform a diving slash through the air, all while taking any opponent in his path down with him. Gained in X6 from defeating Ground Skavarich, this move will cause the opponent to bounce off the floor, allowing for Zero to follow with either normals or specials once the attack has been active for a set period of time, as well as set up kills using a buster cancel if the player drags his opponent off the stage with it. However, this move's cancel effects will not work if this move is used too close to the ground, as doing so will put Zero into a long recovery animation and leave him wide open to incoming damage. While situational, this can be a great way to start combos if you can catch your opponent making mistakes in the neutral. Zero will grab his opponent using one arm, all while he performs a quick knee strike for his pummel. As for his throws, Zero will make use of techniques utilized by the K-Knuckles from X8. These massive brass knuckles providing Zero with powerful close-range techniques that are designed to emulate the fighting styles of Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter. These techniques will provide Zero with some great utility, including but not limited to a combo throw and a kill throw, which makes it all the more enticing to try and get opponents within your fairly poor grab range. Zero's forward throw is Enkokyak, a simple but powerful throw option that will have Zero send his opponent flying with a flaming roundhouse kick. This being a unique take on the technique of the same name acquired from Burn Rooster in X8. At lower percents, the player can use this as a great setup option for Zero's buster, with it serving as Zero's kill throw once their opponent reaches higher percents. While its kill range isn't as great as throws from characters like Ness and Mewtwo, Zero's damage output can put his opponent in said kill range far faster than the aforementioned characters. Zero's up throw is Raijinken, a flashy throw option that will have Zero launch his opponent up into the air with an electrically charged uppercut punch. In terms of usability, the player can use this throw to set potential follow-ups at lower percents, but since this is the only throw that Zero has that cannot link into his buster in some way, it's arguably his least useful throw overall. Also, while it's designed to look more like Shoryuken here in Smash, its original design in X8 is arguably a reference to the Mishima Electrics from Tekken. Zero's back throw is Senpukyak, a flashy reference to one of Ryu's most iconic attacks that will have Zero perform a rapid-hitting spin kick that will send his opponents flying after the final attack, much like an EX Tatsumaki Senpukyak does in Street Fighter. While cool to watch and fun to perform, this throw's greatest strength is its ability to set up kills with the help of buster canceling, as if the player doesn't have a buster charged, it's not a particularly useful throw option. Finally, Zero's down throw is Ganzanha, with this having Zero knock his opponent to the ground before performing a powerful downward punch. This punch creating a shockwave that will knock opponents off the floor and up into the air from the force of the impact. This move's low knockback growth and launch angle make this Zero's designated combo throw, with it being able to jump cancel into a variety of attacks and even set up offstage kills if you buster cancel near the ledge. As a result, this is one of the main reasons your opponent doesn't want to get within your grab range, and one of the main reasons canceling your techniques into grab is so important to your design. We've now reached Zero's specials, and this is where this masterclass Maverick Hunter will make use of a tight-knit kit of techniques to greatly improve his offensive potential. From pressuring opponents from mid-screen to forcing a mix-up to even setting up unblockable damage. Zero has done it all before, and he's going to do it again. Starting with his neutral special, Zero will make use of a projectile attack that, while rather unremarkable in his home franchise, was made into an effective spacing tool in the Versus series. Hadangeki. Taking inspiration from both its design in the Versus series and Saber Shot in X5, this standard projectile will have Zero pull his saber off his back and perform a wide slash. This slash producing a wave of energy that will travel across the stage and deal damage to any opponent it comes into contact with. And if used in the air, it will be launched at a downward angle. This projectile will cover roughly 70% of your average stage's length before it disappears, with that distance being only 50% of its original range if used in the air. And if combined with Zero's Buster, this can provide Zero with some great ranged pressure and a great ranged kill confirm. But this is only the standard version of Hadangeki. You see, tapping the B button will have Zero launch a single wave of energy, but if the B button is held, Zero will combine two waves together to create a more powerful projectile that will deal more damage and hit stun in exchange for being much slower on startup and recovery. This can allow the player to put some serious pressure on any opponent who are either trying to bar Zero's approach or don't want to approach themselves. But opponents with reflectors can easily turn this range pressure against Zero should he use it haphazardly. Dual Blade Hadangeki is also very easy to punish if blocked from close range, so make sure you at least have some distance between you and your opponent before you try to use this move. Moving on to his side special, Zero will utilize a technique that can be anything from a combo bridge to a combo start thanks to its incredible versatility. Acquired from Gigabolt Man of War in X8, this is Raikosen. With this, Zero will perform a very fast rushing dash in a direction chosen by the player, all before a lightning bolt quickly moves along Zero's travel path and deals damage to any and all opponents in its area of effect. If an opponent is hit by Zero's initial dash, they will be locked into the lightning bolt's damage, this in turn locking them into a series of rapid strikes and leaving them wide open to further attacks from Zero. And thanks to this move's combination of range, speed, and heavy hit stun, this is Zero's strongest combo bridge and a very dangerous attack on both hit and block. On hit, you can follow up with any attack you can think of and start or continue massive damage. If blocked, and you position yourself correctly, you can potentially run up and grab, which can start a combo. And if your opponent tries to push you into a corner, using this move will bypass shields and allow you to escape. However, as is to be expected, this move is not impossible to counter. While it can be a dangerous move on block thanks to its electric properties, whiffing this move can leave Zero wide open to incoming damage, especially against opponents that sport projectile kill confirms like Samus or Mewtwo. And if that weren't enough, the initial dash can be countered, so if an opponent properly predicts your attempts to try and leave the corner, you'll end up taking serious damage on a character that can take probably 2 or 3 back exchanges at most. In order to effectively use this move, you're going to want to either bait out an attack from your opponent or link into it using your normals. And if you're caught out of place, you can potentially spend your Buster to cancel the move's recovery animation. However, while the Zero Buster recovers much faster than Raikosen does on whiff, it can still be punished if your opponent is already in melee range. For his recovery special, Zero will make use of his most iconic technique from the Mega Man X series and an ability that can either be used to cash out on damage or set up off-the-top kills. Acquired from Magma Dragoon in X4, this is Ryuenjin. With this, Zero will perform a rising uppercut slash with his Z-Saber, its blade adorned in flames that will deal rapid damage before launching opponents away at the end of the move's damage path. Much like Ryu's Shoryuken, Zero will be intangible during this move's startup, allowing the player to use this as a strong out-of-shield option. But above all else, this is one of Zero's strongest combo enders and a great way to catch mistakes in the neutral and pressure opponents trying to land. At higher percents, it can even be used as a kill confirm, but this move's poor horizontal range makes it a below-average recovery option. On top of that, this move won't snap to the ledge unless it reaches the ledge near the end of its travel path, making it fairly easy to two-frame and an even easier move to punish with moves like a smash attack or a charged projectile. Finally, for his down special, Zero will make use of a technique that will greatly increase his stage presence and strike fear into the hearts of anyone who's gone up against Zero in the Versus series. Acquired from Spike Rose Red in X5, this is Sogenmu. With this, Zero will strike a pose as he creates a shadowy copy of himself, with this shadow following Zero's movements on a delay that's not unlike the delay between the Ice Climbers. And if Zero performs any attack, the copy will perform the same attack after a short delay before disappearing. This shadow can perform any attack that Zero can, bar his final smash. And while the damage dealt by the shadow is a bit less than that of Zero himself, the shadow cannot be harmed, meaning that any attack they perform is completely intangible. This can make moves like Juhazan safe on block, greatly increase the pressure of moves like Raikosen, or, more notably, double the amount of shots that Zero can shoot from his Zero Buster. All of this and more make this one of Zero's strongest offensive tools and a major part of his game plan, even if this is but a fraction of its Versus series iteration. However, as should be expected, there are limits to this move's power that will need to be taken into account. First off, Sogenmu runs on a charge system, with the player having access to 3 charges at the beginning of the match. There's no limit to how fast the player can use these charges, with these charges also being cancelable by inputting down shield before inputting another attack. But once spent, these Sogenmu charges will recharge at a rate of 1 charge every 8 seconds, and it should also be mentioned that these charges will carry on between stocks as well. You can't spend 3 charges in one stock and expect them all to come back the moment you lose said stock. If you use it all at once and lose your stock, you'll be going into the next stock without one of your main offensive tools. Also, if Zero takes damage, the shadow will disappear early and a charge will be spent, so try to not activate this move when you're within damage range of your opponent. To help the player keep track of their Sogenmu uses, a small meter UI will be visible right above Zero's percent bar, with this meter featuring 3 small pips that each account for a Sogenmu charge. Using Sogenmu will gray out a pip, and once the move is spent, the pip will begin to have its color refill over the aforementioned 8-second recharge timer. Once a pip has been restored, the lens on Zero's helmet will release a small blue flash, with this serving as a reminder for the Zero player and a dangerous warning for his opponent. Next is the final smash, and for this, Zero will make use of a variety of abilities to deal huge damage and show his stats as an elite Maverick hunter, all while also showing his mastery in sword-based combat. This is Genmu Zero. When the final smash starts, Zero will let out a cry and activate Dark Hold, the technique acquired from Dark Necrobat in X5, this freezing up to 3 opponents in suspended animation before he draws his blade, its green blade being dyed a muted purple as Zero uses Tenkuha to enhance its power. Once his blade is fully drawn, Zero will let out a battle cry before rushing forward and unleashing a rapid series of sword slashes, cutting his opponents to pieces and rapidly increasing their damage.
I'll end this now!
Finally, to close out the final smash, Zero will raise his blade to the sky as it rapidly increases in size, all before slashing down and launching a massive crescent of energy from his blade, this cutting through all opponents in its path with enough force to shatter the effects of Darkhold and send them flying with immense force. This is the aforementioned Genmu Zero, and is Zero's most powerful sword technique that will instantly kill X if used against him in X5. Here in Smash, it simply acts as a powerful way to close out Zero's final smash, and to add extra impact, Zero will call out the move's name before sending his opponent soaring for the blast zone.
Itorioran! Genmu Zero!
For his victory theme, Zero will make use of his stage complete theme from Mega Man X6. While any of Zero's victory themes could work, I've always found his X6 victory tune to be the best, thanks especially to that great guitar riff. Victory animation number 1 will have Zero turn his back to the camera, all before turning his head to the side and giving a small thumbs up. Cracking a small smile, Zero will then disappear in a flash of light, with this animation referencing the animation that plays when you defeat a boss as Zero in Mega Man X4, X5, and X6.
Target destroyed. Returning to base.
Victory animation number 2 will have Zero rush into view of the camera using Sensuizan, and once he touches the ground, he will slide to a halt and strike a combat-ready pose with his back to the camera. This is a reference to a piece of promotional art Zero received in Mega Man X5, and to add to the stylish entrance, Zero will give a small remark to his defeated opponent.
You think you're the first fool to fight me?
Finally, victory animation number 3 will have Zero pull his Z-Saber off his back and perform a wide-hitting slash in front of himself, the camera slowing down to show that it's a reference to the pose Zero strikes in acquiring a technique in X4. Once the slowdown concludes, Zero will then stand up straight and look into the camera, his pose referencing a piece of artwork Zero received in Mega Man X4. Taunt number 1 will have Zero strike a combat-ready pose with his Zero Buster, all while saying a couple of words to throw off his opponent's resolve.
I've already analyzed your data. Do you still think you can win?
This simple taunt is meant to accentuate the importance of Zero's Buster in his movesets, which is made all the more fun by the fact that Zero can cancel this taunt by releasing a charge shot from his Buster, truly one of the few cases that BM can be a true combo. Taunt number 2 will have Zero perform a pair of slashes around himself, all before placing his saber on his back and returning to his idle animation. This is designed to reference Zero's taunt from the Versus series, and it's guaranteed to raise your cortisol levels if it's what you're subjected to after a lightning loop combo.
Just like a training program.
Finally, Taunt number 3 will have Zero receive a transmission from Maverick Hunter HQ. A hand coming up to the side of his helmet as Zero gives a variety of affirmations to the incoming information. This is designed to be an extended take on Zero's taunt from Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, the game that not only brought Mega Man X's Zero into the Versus series, but would be the beginning of his reign as one of Capcom's most dominant fighting game characters, as he was just as broken there as he would be in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. For his colors, Zero's options will mainly make references to various characters from the Mega Man series, as his armor doesn't change color depending on what technique he has active. Also, yes, I did say Mega Man series, not Mega Man X, as there's plenty of characters Zero has association with from outside of his home series. Color number 1 is Zero's regular colors, featuring his red, white, and yellow armor with his green chest lights and a large blue lens in the center of his helmet. This lens lighting up as Zero performs certain attacks. In terms of variation, both Zero's armor and hair color will change between each color option, although some color options will keep his ponytail a striking blonde. Color number 2 will have Zero don the colors of his black Zero armor, a hidden power-up that will grant Zero much greater offensive and defensive capabilities when equipped. This will change Zero's armor to a jet black while muting the other colors a considerable amount, while his hair goes from a blonde to a platinum blonde. Color number 3 will have Zero don the colors of his fellow Maverick Hunter and best friend, X. This changing its armor to a blend of blue and cyan while his chest lights and helmet lens become a striking red. While Zero would receive a costume in UMVC3 that would grant him the appearance of X, this is a color he instead had in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Vanilla. Color number 4 will have Zero don the colors of another one of his fellow Maverick Hunters, Axel. This will change Zero's armor to a blend of black, red, and silver while his highlights become a deep blue and hair is changed to a deep brown. Color number 5 will give Zero the colors of former Maverick Hunter and persistent side villain that doesn't know when to quit, Vile. This will change Zero's armor to a blend of purple and yellow, while his highlights become a blend of purple and bright red. This will also retain Zero's blonde hair, with it being just a bit brighter than its original design. Color number 6 will make another reference to X, with this color scheme referencing the first armor X acquired in the original Mega Man X title. This will change Zero's armor to a blend of white and blue, while his highlights will become a blend of orange and red, all while his hair becomes a striking sea blue. Color number 7 will make reference to Base, Zero's predecessor and fellow creation of Dr. Wily, with this changing Zero's armor to a blend of black and orange while its highlights become a bright blue. On top of that, Zero's hair will be changed to a bright orange as well. Finally, color number 8 will make reference to Zero's future appearances in Mega Man Zero, with his armor being changed to a blend of bluish gray and muted red while his highlights become a blend of light yellow and aqua blue. While I've never been a fan of how any of the characters from Mega Man Zero look, let alone how the story goes, I will not deny these colors look pretty good on Zero's original design. When it comes to my history with fighting games, there are very few characters I've been around and fought more than the likes of Zero. And while I've always been a fan of him as a character, especially when I'm the one in control of him, I've always seen him as a bit of an odd character who just happened to be in the right place at the right time. While the Versus series would make him a popular fighting game character, a lot of Zero's time as the front runner of the Mega Man series and crossover titles came at a time when the Mega Man franchise was in a state of serious unrest, with many projects being cancelled and Mega Man himself missing out on not only the vanilla roster of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but also being skipped for Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 as well. Couple that together with him showing up in character endings, the infamous Wanted poster on the Days of Future Past stage, and Zero being given an X costume, the complaints were clear: we want Mega Man. This is why Mega Man's reveal for Smash 4 not even 2 years later was so impactful, as it came in one of the darkest times in the fanbase's history, and I feel that these dark times aren't something we should repeat in Smash. I believe that, if a character from Mega Man X were to get a chance to be playable in Smash, that it should be X first followed by Zero, much like most fans wanted it to be leading into games like Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I'd argue that X should have already been included in Ultimate, but that's already so far behind us that I won't say anything more on that. For now, all I can say is that, while I'm glad that people love Zero and want to see him in more fighting games, I still want to see other characters first. That, and as someone who has played as and against Zero for well over a decade, I'll be the first to tell you that the ever-soft and ever-spineless Smash community isn't ready for a playable Zero. If you guys can't even handle Minecraft Steve, you'd be screaming in anguish if they ever brought Zero out in full force. If you like what you saw, be sure to like and comment, as doing so not only helps with the algorithm, but also gives me a nice boost in morale. If you want to see more, follow the link in the description to watch the other videos produced from my Challengers Concept series, all while subscribing and pressing that little bell icon to make sure you never miss a future upload. Until the next time I see you, I've been Felicia Fan, and I hope you have a good one, and play fighting games.